Oh, bad dog, get on your bed now, you naughty little thing. Oh, hello everybody, Mumsy here again. I just want you to say, I think you're in for a rather spiffing little, whatever he calls himself, that unplugged and doing C type radio poddy thing. Okay, you'll really enjoy it, I know.
Hi, and welcome to the PDU, the Personal Development Unplugged podcast that's created just for you to make your life a better life. Personal development, self-improvement. Because I think that this genre has been made so complicated these days. Don't know why, I've got my thoughts, but I've now got the aim to break these complicated processes and techniques down into their simple steps. The simple steps that we can now use to create the life that we want, and for you to begin to exceed your potential, knowing your potential is unlimited. Wow, that's a big one. And, well, who am I? I'm Paul Clough. I'm a hypnotherapist, a hypnotist. I'm a trainer of NLP and hypnosis, and I just love helping people with their minds to improve. Let go of the stuff you don't want, negative emotions and anxiety and things like that, and access all the things you do want, such as confidence, self-esteem, all the things that you need to create the life that you want and enjoy it, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? And when you're enjoying it, you'll follow your vision, you'll have your missions and follow your pathway, find your passions. So if that's for you, you're in the right place. And also know that if this is your first time, there's a lot of past episodes. So if you go through, you'll find a wealth, I think, of golden nuggets that will help you really be the person you're meant to be. So do enjoy that. And if you wish, well, you can always subscribe and you'll get these podcasts 2 every week. Wow. So enjoy. Personal development, unplugged. Hi, and a little while ago I talked about a lie that I told myself, and I thought it would be great to expand upon this. Expand upon your lie, Paul. That's right. You see, I told this story to so many people, and I realised that I've been telling people this for a long time, and even now I think about it, and I realised this is completely BS. Now, what the hell are you talking about, Paul? Well, here's the lie I told myself and told others, and it's this thing that Paul doesn't travel or do things on his own. Has to have someone with him, and it has to be close. And I thought, and I've been thinking about this a bit more now, because it is a total lie. There are things that I've done in the past that just knock this out of the water, if that's what you do with things. Knock it out of the park. So here's a few examples about where Paul doesn't travel and he doesn't do things by himself. Well, you see, in the early days when I began to inquire about NLP, it wasn't really being done by very many people. Quite a few, but it wasn't as big as it is now, obviously. And I went to a taster session all by myself to learn and understand about things that I didn't know anything about. And following that, a little while later, I took myself away from my family, 3 children, and went and drove for about 3.5, 4 hours and spent 2 weeks away in bed and breakfast with people I didn't know to learn hypnosis. I didn't learn all hypnosis, but I learned the seeds of hypnosis that really spread into my very being, as it were, because I want to know so much more now, and I do it so much. And then, from there, for 4 years, and I think it was 9 or 10 months of every year, 1 weekend every month, going to an NLP class. And it was a weekend, a Saturday and Sunday, with people I didn't know, all by myself. And I'd spend all weekend, and then I had to learn and practice and write up various reports and things that happened to me in that period of time. But there was 1 year of practitioner, 1 year of master practitioner. Then I went to become an assistant and assisted on the practitioner course, and then assisted on the master practitioner course. So I was putting myself up there, but always by myself and doing it by myself. And then did something else. A few years later, I travelled to the United States of America, all the way to Santa Cruz on the west coast of America, to the NLP University. And it was my trainer's training. And it was like 23 days on the run, going to a different land with lots of different people. And when I say lots, there was 70 people in the class I was in. There was another 25 to 30 people in another class going on simultaneously. And then all the trainers and the helpers and things like that. So there was a lot of people. And I went by myself for nearly a month away from everyone. And then after that, I don't know how many years ago, but then I had it in my mind to do a retreat. I wanted to do a retreat, so I did a retreat, and it's about, again, a 4-hour drive with a small group of people I didn't know, knowing that I'd probably have to share things personally and see what happened. And it was like a 3-day retreat, and I did it. And I came back, and all these things. Well, just before I go there, and I also now go on my own personal mini retreats. I'd go away for a couple of days. Guess what? By myself, a distance away from everybody. And, well, I just go and do it. So these are all things where Paul doesn't travel and he doesn't do things on his own. What BS is that, eh? And you see, what has happened doing those things? What have they created? Well, they've created a love affair with personal development and hypnosis and NLP and all other aspects of developing your mind and developing your heart, your soul, your physiology, physicality, and your spiritual side as well, because it affects everything you do, I think. And everything has just allowed me to make wonderful friends that I didn't know before I went. And enjoyed so many different things and being with people and doing stuff because Paul doesn't travel. Now, I thought to myself, why the hell do I keep saying that then? Because it's not true, is it? I mean, even this thing, like talking to you now, putting myself out here. Oh, I'm by myself. But am I? I'm with you. But I feel like I'm by myself. Putting myself up there. You know, if people don't like it, they can tell me to my face how horrible it is or how bad it is. But hey, that's what I'm doing because and they all have wonderful purposes, all this stuff. But I thought to myself, what's this all about, Paul? Come on, let's get real. And I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, this is like my excuse that I can get out of things. So there's like a positive intention. Maybe it's to get out of things, or maybe to give me time, breathing space, to think about what I'm going to do and things like that. I don't know. There's so many different things, but when I come down to it, it's not true. So I thought, well, why am I talking to you about this? Because, well, what I thought was, put it this way, knowing that it's not true, as I look back over those things, I can feel good about myself. Because I did do things. They weren't easy to do. They did have anxiety. There was some fear there. Intrepidation. There was an adventure. But it had those negative emotions around it, which again, at the end of the day, were all BS. They were me putting that stuff out there. But I went through that. So, when I think about it now, what couldn't I do? If I wanted to do it, I could do it by myself. I could go a long way to do it, and it wouldn't matter who was there. Because, you see, when I think about those things, and I'm sure if I sat down even longer and thought of other things, my self-esteem would grow. Or wouldn't it? No, I'm going to rewind that. My self-esteem wouldn't grow. My confidence wouldn't grow. I just realised how confident I am. And I'd realise how wonderful my self-esteem is. How wonderful I like myself for doing it. And I could also thank myself, have gratitude for those things that I've done that have allowed me to do other things in my life. I even thought about it. Do you know what? I actually live quite a long distance away from where I spent 90% of my life to go on another adventure. Wow. Although Howie did come with me, my dog Howie. So I wasn't totally alone that time. I needed a little help. But anyway, what I thought was, what are the stories you're telling yourself? Because I think we all do this. The more I've thought about this, the more I can hear people's conversations saying, this and that and what have you. So what I thought was, why don't you get Jenny Journal out, opening up to a blank page, and just ask yourself, what are the things you tell other people about yourself? Now, they could be negative, it could be positive. For me, I feel this is a negative. But what are the things you tell other people about yourself? And then examine it to see if it's true. How do I examine this, Paul? Okay, here's one thing. Find counterexamples. That was my list of counterexamples to find out it was totally untrue of what I was saying to other people. So when you find those counterexamples, if it's a negative, then notice what you've actually achieved in those counterexamples. And achieving what you've achieved in those counterexamples, how did that make you feel? And then maybe knowing that, go back to what you used to say about yourself. Notice the past tense. And notice, what was the positive intention? What did or are you getting from this? Because when you understand what that intention was or is, you can realize that you don't really need it now because of all the achievements you've made. And in fact, knowing that you've got that self-confidence or self-esteem or the experience or knowledge or whatever it is that you have right now, you can realize you're safer pushing through those imaginary boundaries with that wonderful resource, because you know you're going to make yourself even bigger and better. You're going to start to seize the moment, seize the experience, seize the knowledge. And with that, life will become, well, that's right. You can guess what it's going to become. Now, when would you do this? Hey, what about right now? Or just think about a time when you could sit down for a few moments, 10, 15 minutes, and just notice what you have been saying. Maybe you could just notice when you say these things and think, I've got to think about that. Make a note on your phone. This is the things to think about. Is this really true? Because what I said to myself was, this is just time to get a little bit more honest with ourselves. It was time to get honest with myself. And do you know what? It feels so much better to know that if those words come out of my mouth again, oh, by the way, I don't do this, and I'll know, hey, listen to the words, Paul. They're not right. Let's think about it again. Do you want to do this or don't you? Because it doesn't matter either way. You've got to go with your heart, your feeling, your gut, and everything else. And you'll be fine, knowing that you'll be fine. And I can recall those past achievements and go, do you know what? I think this is probably worth doing. But I got to thinking as well. You can do this, before I got to thinking, you can do these on positive things too. And just notice, sometimes we can be overconfident. So it's like a positive negative. So when you're telling people things that you can do, maybe what's happened when it hasn't quite worked out? What was the intention? What can you learn from this? And that's the biggest question. How can I learn from this, and how can I make it even better? So here's where I go now to what I was thinking. You see, these are, to me, some nice general things to help me grow. Because just sitting down thinking about this morning, it's helped me grow in the things that I can now think of doing. It's opening up my awareness, opening up my world, really. Opening up my model of the world to different opportunities. But then I thought to myself, and on the therapy side, what stories do we tell ourselves if we're not feeling 100%? Let's go to, say, when we're feeling depressed. What are the stories we're telling ourselves? If we're feeling that we have low self-esteem, It's very closely related, isn't it? What stories are we telling ourselves and others? And you see, I'm going to go into these deeper. And on subsequent podcasts, we will explore these. They're difficult subjects, but they're only difficult if we treat them as complex. We're going to treat them in a simple form. Remember, in simplicity, there's genius. So we can find completely new ways to transform our lives. But it might be worthwhile if you aren't feeling 100%. Maybe if you're anxious, maybe if you are feeling depressed, you're feeling down. Maybe you're feeling that you have low self-esteem. Maybe you've got something like social anxiety phobia, whatever they call that is, But that's that anxious feeling about going out and meeting people or at work and things like that. And just notice, if you did sit down with Jenny Journal, what are the things that you repeatedly say to yourself? The things like, I can't, they won't, it'll all go wrong, or, it always happens to me. And then open up your mind to find those counterexamples. And I know sometimes when we've been feeling down for so long, or our self-esteem has seemed to have disappeared for so long, initially we'll go, well, I can't think of it. There isn't any counterexamples, Paul. I just haven't got anything like that because it's always been this way. Now, there's one answer to that. That's BS as well. Because there is. Just think back to the time before you weren't feeling quite so good, or times in between, because you don't feel not that good 24 hours a day for all those times. There may be a time where you've just done one little thing, or someone said something. And just notice those very small counterexamples. And when you notice that counterexample, how does it make you feel? When you just, and only just, focus on that counterexample and how it made you feel. And I'm not saying this is a be-all and end-all, but it is something to start with. It's a seed. It's a seed to tell your unconscious mind, I know you're trying to do something good for me. It's not working because I don't feel good. Therefore, there's a conflict going on in my life that whilst you're trying to have this wonderful positive intention, the behaviour and emotions I'm feeling right now are just in conflict with what you're trying to do. And now we've got some counterexamples that make me feel good. And if we could link that, i.e. get your unconscious mind to link that with its intention for you, we're on our way. We're on our way to creating a better life and letting go of that depression, that sadness, that anxiousness, that low self-esteem, that low social anxiety, or the high social anxiety, and begin to let it go. Now, I say this is not the silver bullet, but it could be. For some people, it could be. Yet, it's just a seed. And the more seeds we plant, and the more seeds that we water and cultivate and nurture, the more we let our unconscious mind know that it has to change. And when it does, and when it really understands, it really will change you. And change can then be in an instant. So don't listen to those people who say, oh, it takes so long to do, or you have to wait 12 months, 25 sessions, or whatever. No, change could be in an instant. We just need to be in the right place at the right time. And you can be. And I'd like to think that this Personal Development Unplugged podcast is one of the places, not the sole place, of course, don't be stupid, Paul, but it's one place, one of many, that you can come to and have those seeds watered, nurtured, and cultivated. Yeah. Anyway, go and get Jenny Journal and just have a play. Make it fun, because if you make it, well, you can be serious, but only in the way you're seriously going to have fun doing this. So get in the right state, set your intention. We've talked about this before. And then with Jenny Journal, really go for it. You might be, and I think you will be, so very surprised at what comes out the other end. Let me know. I'd love to hear. All right then. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm not going to tell your unconscious mind to surprise you for feeling happiness for no reason. But you never know. And just before you go, I just want to say thank you for listening, but also, wouldn't it be nice if you had a friend that if they knew that you weren't feeling quite yourself, they recommended something like this if they felt it was something good for you. So if you have a friend that you feel could benefit from any of my podcasts here, please do share with everyone you can think of. That would be really nice, really nice. And if you like, you can go to iTunes and you can subscribe. There's a subscribe bit there, and you'll get these podcasts come onto your device as and when they come along. I'm doing about 2 episodes a week now, so you can have the 5-minute quickie and the longer podcast for a little bit more in-depth work. So please do that. And if you're feeling so kind, if you could put a lovely review in where it says review, because that's where reviews go. I said I'll make it so simple, and in simplicity there's genius. Yeah, please do. If you want to find out what I do, the other things I do, you can go to paulclough.co.uk. That's my website. And if you want to ask me a question, please email me, paul@paulclough.co.uk. Love to hear from you. We've got lots of things to do, and I just want to support you in creating your reality. Okay? So enjoy, have more happiness than you can stand, and shine so brightly and create that reality you love. Okay, now. Bye-bye now. Personal development, unplugged.